Welcome. Hello, Doc. How are you today?
Hey, I'm pretty good. What about you?
I'm doing good. I could complain, but it doesn't do anything.
That part.
It doesn't do anything. I'm grateful as always to be live with you today, as we hold a conversation about showing up.
Yeah, let's get into that, shall we?
Yeah, let's get into it. I'm always seemingly shocked whenever I make that. It's always I'm gonna change it up. Next time I'm just gonna kick over a garbage can and say, if you about this life, show up. I think I might make one anyway. Like if you really are who you say you are, then show up. Stop playing
Mhm.
around. But this round is very different. I also think there's a different social political context, but I think even what's happening in the world personally, I
Mhm.
think people should be showing up.
Mhm. Yeah,
Uh,
very different energy. Yes, yes, yes. Mhm.
what are you noticing with the energy?
It's interesting because I've been kind of in my own little bubble on purpose, but when I step out of the bubble, what I notice is almost like frantic, desperate confusion, lack of direction. It's kind of
Yeah,
it's odd. It's a weird combination of energies, but what I'm noticing above all else is there seems to be a lack of direction.
a lack of direction. Tell us more about that. What do you mean a lack of direction?
Like there's a lot of energy, but people don't know where to put it. Like they don't know how to use it in a way that's productive. Like there's a lot of conversation, there's a lot of talking, but I don't see a whole lot of actual action that would be productive.
Productive action. So posting online is not a productive action.
Huh?
Okay, hold on. Well, we have lost our Instagram connection, so just let me just
Uh-oh.
get that connected real quick.
Okay.
That was weird.
Good old Mercury.
It
Say,
is. It's getting when it starts getting me like this. When Mercury retrograde starts getting me like this,
good old Mercury retrograde. It's
it
like
is like
give you a little razzle dazzle. We're gonna add a little extra to it.
right because it's like okay, come on now, copy. Oh, remove this. Okay, we gonna get it. We gonna get
Hmm.
into it.
Yeah.
Mercury. Let's talk about Mercury. Because for me, the way Mercury retrograde is retrograding for me already.
And so you sometimes you just gotta. I mean, I would invite folks to just learn how to just go with the flow. Like, oh, okay, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'll keep trying. I'll keep trying. I'll keep trying. And if it don't work, hey, fuck it. So I mean,
It's like I could keep going with the flow, sis. I will keep going with the flow, but unfortunately, sometimes it's like oh, and I'm like, well, what's the lesson? Maybe I don't need to be on my phone right now. Maybe that's the lesson.
or you
Maybe
just
that's the
pause and
lesson.
try again. Sometimes you just need a little. You just need a little pause. You know.
That's it. That's
Hmm.
it. So we're on Instagram. We're live. We're talking about the show up challenge. You said that the show up is not productive. Is that what you said?
No, I was saying that people are, there's a lot of energy, but people don't seem to know how to use it in a way that's productive, right? It's just a lot of angst, is what I'm feeling.
Yeah. And then I said before we had an issue with Instagram, um, so being online all day is not productive.
And I said, huh? Huh? What you
I
say?
just think we're just in really scary times right now, Doc. If I could keep it real with you, like I think that, like you said, people don't know what to do with their energy. So another thing that they're doing is they're commenting on anything,
Mm,
right, and not taking action. So, for example, we have a messenger like where I said, "Hey, if you're about this life, show up."
hmm.
It was sent out to 147 people, delivered 100% of the time. 70% of those people clicked the link, and 8 people signed up. So when people talk a lot about social media and your audience and monetizing, I want to let you all know that people aren't really engaging the way it looks. It's almost like a false positive. Like
Mm,
you think, oh my God, 107 people, they're all going to sign up. I think the aversion of signing up is the price and them not connecting the value to the work that we do as Black women. Can we just
mm,
be real?
mm,
And I mean, the best example of that, Doc, is I got a Venmo with a message that I'm using your content for a group that I'm having. And I just got real curious, like, why don't you just ask me to do a workshop in your group? And so I sent the Venmo back. And the amount, if the amount of the Venmo was a little different, I get it, but it's like that's how you value me and my work.
Mm-hmm.
No way. No way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you told me what you were doing. Like, I'm gonna, like, you made the point. I'm gonna take your stuff and then I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna do it. And here's $5.
Yeah, I was real curious about that. When I actually put a comment like, "Where they do that at?" Like, you got some. That's audacious as hell. All I could say was, "Wow, that's what
Yeah.
we're doing."
Yeah, that's what we're doing. I mean, that's the energy is so chaotic. People don't know how to transmute the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally think that if they showed up
Mm-hmm.
with us over the 6, 8 weeks, they
Mm-hmm.
would actually learn how to transmute, to not just
Yes.
be disembodied and making moves.
Yes. A lot of consumption, no creation, is what I'm saying.
And what's being consumed is not healthy for one's mental health either.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think in the work, I call it the social justice industrial complex,
Mm-hmm.
everybody is glued into bad news all day long. And
Mm-mm.
if you're not getting it from Fox News or CNN, you're getting it from social media.
Mm-hmm.
And then people on social media think they can hold you to you don't know the news. That's not I am not here to be CNN. I am here to remind you who you are as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people get stuck there.
I mean, because again, even things that doesn't seem like the easier choice, that's usually what people are making, right? It's easier to consume all of the nonsense, all of the payroll, all of those things versus shifting your focus on, okay, what can I do productively in my own life, right? And how can
Right.
that be an impact on a larger scale versus just sitting and consuming all day? That's just easier to
It
do.
is. Well, that's why social media was created, if we keep it real, to be consumers. So at first it was they used it as connection,
Mm-hmm.
but now we're not connecting, we're just consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And we're consuming each other.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And I feel, as I say that, I felt that because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
these people really do consume me. How am I
Mm-hmm.
being consumed? And what are my boundaries around consumption? And how can I, like this show of challenge, I could tell, like always, we do the work too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm already feeling the themes of the work.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's really, really crucial to show up now more than ever, right? You know, just because of everything that's going on. And it gives you a locus of control, right? You can't
Yeah.
necessarily control all of the ish that's going on out here, but you can control how you show up on a daily basis to yourself, to your family, to your community. Like, what does that look like to be able to show up for you, really? You know, and not just say it, not just type it, but actually mean it and do it.
That, say that question again.
I'm just saying, you know, what can it look like to show up for real? Not just say it out your mouth because it sounds good, not just type it because it looks good and it feel like you've done something, not do it to be nosy so you can see what link you get and what that leads to, but because you're actually invested in your own work, right? And so you can show up for yourself, your family, your community, and then more globally. But you got to start with yourself.
Well, I mean, but the thing about social, I feel that because that is what I believe in. And I hope that's the message that comes across when people like see the work that I do or we do. But unfortunately, the social justice industrial complex is always focused on outside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do outside of me? How many petitions can I sign? How many people am I following? So, in order to even accept that you must focus on yourself, the myth, I call it a myth, was white people don't have time to focus on their self. But if they don't focus on themselves, they're just perpetuating the problem, I think.
Mm. Well, my question would be with all of that focusing externally, what has it gotten you? I mean, what's the outcome? If it's not productive, then what's the point?
With all that focusing outside of you, where has that gotten you? Some people aren't worried about themselves.
Mm.
And that's real. They're not thinking about themselves because they have been told their feelings don't matter, their thoughts don't matter. As a white person, you only are supposed to do for like it's a whole thing. I haven't said that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I might have in 2020, but that I had some anger and that's why I said it. But like I've moved away from that because that means that these like people aren't being seen as humans. They're
Mm-hmm.
being seen as artificial intelligence.
Well, then my question would be, okay, so even if your focus is external and it's do and do and do for others, has that been productive? Even if not for yourself, who have you saved, quote unquote? I'm just whose life has become better because you are sacrificing yourself or whatever. Like, how has that been productive? And if not, then why the fuck are we still doing it? I'm just asking.
Because people feel an obligation to do it. They're like, and no one said that. I don't think anyone said you're obligated or you have to.
Mm,
But unfortunately, we can talk about patriarchy and all those systems. It's the
mm,
socialization of it. And I think
mm,
that's why your work or with self reconciliation therapy is important because there is a level of reconciling of the self
mm,
before you can show up. Because if you're not, you are performing. You're performing to prove your worthiness. You're
mm.
performing for connection. You're performing for friendships. And you're trying to say you love people, but can you really love someone outside of yourself?
You know, as we were talking, the vision that came in my head is someone filling a bucket with a hole in it. And they're just
Mm.
filling it and they're filling it and they're filling it. And they never stop to ask themselves, like, why the fuck am I filling up this bucket? It's not doing anything. But the person who's wanting you to fill up the bucket just wants to exhaust you. So you won't ask the questions.
Ooh, jeez. God. I mean, so can we just take the bucket and then pour it out and then just kick it over and focus on ourselves? Is that what you're saying?
Or just ask yourself, like, why, like, who told me I had to fill up this fucking bucket? Like, who does this serve? Because I'm
Mm.
exhausted, I can't ask any questions. And so, because I'm consumed with doing what I was told to do, but I never stopped to ask myself, why was this my assignment?
And that's the system of domination. And oh, I can't talk about this today. I'll save it for Friday. That is what domination teaches you. It's a power play,
Mm,
right? It's the power over you where you don't make the decisions for yourself because you're submitting. Do I get an A? You're submitting to a construct of reality. You're submitting to a social construct that is not allowing you to believe that you have power.
mm. Well, here's the difference
Ooh.
between that and kink. A sub in a kink relationship can always ask questions.
A what?
A sub in a kink relationship can always ask questions.
So now I'm saving that for Friday. Because now it seems like from a year ago, I need to be asking myself that question
Mm,
because people can ask me questions. So what am I
mhm,
getting out of it? Is it pleasurable for me to let people ask questions?
mm,
And then that goes to the deeper question around how am I being perceived as a Black woman
mm,
who in this society there is no dominance besides those stereotypes like angry Black woman, Jezebel, all that.
mm.
But now because of that flip flop authority, oh, this is good. I can't even say the rest. That just blew my mind and it blew people over on Instagram. I see some mind blown headshots.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, hey Gabrielle. Yeah, so it's like and Zoe said that this all requires self-awareness, survival. It's self-awareness, survival, and reaction. We're
Mm,
all moving out of survival and reaction.
mm. Self
Mm,
awareness can be scary, especially if you've been living your life as an iteration of someone else's imagination.
mm.
I mean, if the white woman is a construct of patriarchy, you've been living your life as a construct of patriarchy, not as a human being. So now you have to extricate yourself out of the imagination of this system and actually figure out who you are as a person and not just a figment of someone's imagination.
Oh God, this is so good. And I do want to clarify, like, God, that was so good. I just sit for that for a second.
I mean, just like the strong black woman is a figment of someone's fucking imagination. Like we've had to extricate ourselves out of whatever that fantasy was in order to just be real people. Just a different fantasy.
So we can learn to show up to create the reality that we want to be in,
Mm.
to tell a new
Create,
story.
not consume.
Create and not consume. It's almost like the opposite of Gary Vee: document, don't create. No, we're going to create,
Mm.
not consume, and maybe document it at the same time. Multiple truths existing.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would you say? Because, Doc, we talked about this last time. Is this cohort of show up going to be just for white women? Are we opening it up to everybody? How would you, what's the energy that you
Ooh.
feel? Because if we open it up for everybody,
Ooh.
we can do very intentional breakout spaces where we can
Hmm.
practice shared power.
Hmm. That's interesting because what the first word that popped in my head was safety.
Mm,
But whose?
mm,
And I'm not sure. I'm wondering if, because I know you have conversation about how, like, and just thinking about our first cohort, that sometimes white women don't feel safe with other white women. And I'm wondering if that would be amplified if others were involved or if it would be lessened, right? Because my question is, who needs it the most at this time?
mm-hmm.
And that's
That's a
what
really good thing to think about. I personally think that if we were to bring in a group, they would submit, so we wouldn't see what we saw because the again, like I remember I was just saying about my dominance and the kink and
matters.
so they would submit to because they think that we need to give the space to the black
Mm-hmm.
woman in the room. So
Mm-hmm.
it who would it benefit? It would put them back in a submission, back in a
Yeah, we
submitted
don't want that.
PowerPoint. So our answer to that question is obvious at this point.
Hmm. Yeah, we don't want that. Not right now. I mean, I think at some point it would behoove us to be able to have multicultural global spaces because it's necessary. But I've told John, not John, Jane, um, that we have to sometimes have these smaller conversations so that we can do our own work, so that we can come to these larger spaces from a place of healing versus all of the other shit, right? So it
Yeah,
makes connection more possible.
absolutely. I love that. What's the one reason why someone should take this challenge? Because I know we got to go soon.
Just one reason?
Okay,
You.
give me as many reasons that you can pop off.
I mean, the main reason is for you, right? Like, we are doing the work. It's kind of like what we tell our kids, like, I got my degree, I went to school already. So we're doing it. I mean, this is for you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And so I think the main reason to do it is because you are ready to really reconcile with yourself.
absolutely. And when you look at those like addiction models of recovery and like the cycle of change, some people can be stuck in what pre-contemplation. They want to do it, but they're not sure. And
Mhm.
what do you say to people who are like in pre-contemplation, like I'm gonna do it, I'm ready? Ooh, I don't know. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you help people move out of pre-contemplation and be a thought partner with them?
Invite them to be courageous. You can still be afraid. That's
Yeah.
what courage is. And also understand, like, you don't have to get into this process and jump into the deep end. We had some people that got kind of eased in, right? They weren't full front and center the entire time, but they became more comfortable as they got an opportunity to see how we showed up and how we created and held space. So you don't have to immediately jump in. You can just be in the space and allow yourself to kind of soak in some of the energy and then decide where you want to go from there.
I
Get in the
think
room. Mhm.
we I think we do a really good job too, like of letting people be in choice. And a lot of people, I have this problem a lot. People are not used to being in choice.
Mm.
And so again, it turns into a very interesting dynamic. We'll say that.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think people should do the challenge because it will help them gain clarity. A lot of people don't know why they're even an anti-racist. I'm always going to put this in circles because I said to someone today, anti-racist is a job.
Mm.
Like, I'm an anti-racist. You're attached to an identity that you cannot live up to. So then
Mm.
when the apathy and the fatigue sets in, you ghost.
Mm.
So the anti-racist doesn't know that they have an identity outside that label. And so for me, I would encourage people to take the challenge to find out what is your why and get really clear so that you can move forward.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's so many reasons, and I don't want to give all of them away, but it's it's so transformative, and I wish we had someone who was in the challenge on the live with us who can give some testimony. But it's just really transformative, and one of the things that came away from it was that people were not expecting how much they got to learn and know themselves. Like they stepped away from it with a deeper, more connected relationship with self, which allowed them to have a deeper and more connected relationship with the other. Right?
Well, I'm happy to, yes. I think it says it here. It's clear. Here's a couple of testimonials because you knew I was going to screen share. That's my new thing. Elizabeth said it awakened a sense of love within how I show up for myself as a way to honor others. All the love I've crafted for others over the years, granting myself that as well, felt like an expansiveness.
Mm,
The space was deeply rewarding, and I'm grateful to have met these individuals and myself more deeply over the last several weeks. This was practice in deepening our humanity within each other and each of us, which can enable ourselves and each other to thrive.
mm,
I'm going to read one more from Annie. I learned the true power of community during our time together, what it really means to be in community. It's not about showing up when it's easy or when it feels comfortable. It's
mhm,
about committing to be present even when it's hard. I came face to face with my own tendencies towards throwaway culture, the
mm,
impulse to withdraw from myself and others when things get tough and think it is some form of righteousness.
mm,
Um,
mhm,
and then one more for today. Let's read Jamie's to the left. I'm
mhm,
thankful for the space to grapple through complicated feelings and emotions. As an incredibly introverted and highly sensitive individual, having a safe community to bounce my poorly formed words off was incredibly helpful. I found that they were able to relate to what I was dealing with and help me better articulate what I was trying to say.
mhm.
Those are really
Yeah.
great testimonies.
Mhm.
And we have
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, I was just looking at Lisa saying that she was really scared, but the space was really warm and inviting. So, yeah, you just give yourself an opportunity. You know.
There it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned that others have the similar struggles with finding a way to show up, that I can show up, be uncomfortable, reflect, and grow.
Exactly.
Yep. Lisa misses you a lot.
Aw.
Trust me. We were just talking about you, like, oh, Doc. And I'm like, uh-oh. So you may be seeing Lisa. That would be really exciting.
That's what's up. Yeah, so it's an invitation, right? It's an invitation to join us and do some really incredible work with some amazing individuals and just hold space for yourself and for others.
Yep. And you can find us at the domain is showupchallenge.me. Get it? Showupchallenge.me. Like I'm gonna show up. Okay. Um, go to the website. Go ahead and we have payment plans available. You can pay in full. You can request a scholarship. We're getting full on scholarships this round. I'm hoping that some of our sponsors from last year can come and support us this year. So far, we have a list of 5 on that list. That's about $10,000.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we cannot pull from our community care fund because that is for community care for Black women,
Hmm.
FAMS, gender expansive people, and mutual aid for all genders and races. So we can't pull from that. That's not ethical. But
Hmm.
if you can give to our scholarship fund from this day forward, please do. And if you want to sign up and show up, show up. Be about that life.
Exactly. Be
I'm
about
kicking
that
the
life.
garbage can now. I'm going to go in my yard tomorrow. I'm going to have my child record me kicking the garbage can down, then sitting down and drinking a glass of water in a wine glass.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
I'm so wild. All right. Doc, thank you for your time today. We'll do another live a couple times. We got what, 3 weeks left for people to
We got
sign
some
up?
time. Yep.
So y'all got time to sign up. If you need to do payment plans that are beyond what exists, please say something. Don't sit there like, oh my God. We want to see you there. We want to see you showing up and we want to support you. So thank you, Doc, for your time.
All right. Closed mouths don't get fed, as they say. All right.
So, yeah, I was about to say another one, but you got it. Okay, close mouth, don't get fed. See